get this ball rolling. All righty. Welcome, everybody, to another Decisions Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host again, Jared. So if you have any questions, feel free to add it in the chat or in the Q&A. I believe the Q&A would be better. And then we will review your question and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And we'll see where we go from there. So feel free to go ahead and ask your question. Now, while you're thinking about answering your question, we do have a couple of different options and features that you can utilize for learning how to build in Decisions. So for example, if I go into our Decisions YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel where you can view all of the different stuff for Decisions training. And you can see we have our Lunch and Learns uploaded, and we have a lot of our different videos available that you can then view and watch. We have a couple of new ones, interactable tiles and pages and decisions. We have some transactional steps also available as well. And we also have some of our Lunch and Learns also from last week. So great resources. If you have any other ones that you would like to add onto here and you want to see your suggestions, feel free to email training@decisions.com. We'll be more than happy to take those suggestions and then create a video over your suggestion. Then we have marketplace.decisions.com. This is where you'll see all of the different accelerators and all of the different capabilities here for adding different features to Decisions, or also understanding how we built those projects. And our solutions team is working hard to get those features added. So that's kind of where we're at today. All right, with that being said, that's all of the introductory materials that we have. I'm going to see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, cool. We got one. It says, Wade says, hey, I'm back from yesterday, having trouble adding the entity to the case entity folder. After the entity is adding, the view is blank and the reports don't show all the fields. Okay, cool. So I'll allow you to talk. Wait, so
sorry, there were some misspellings there.
No worries.
The last part was after the entity was added, the view is blank. Like if you go look at the view of the record and the reports, I can get the case entity name, but none of the fields show.
Case entity name, but none of the fields show.
Yeah, because I was trying to make a report of the case entity with the assignment, which would be my custom entity.
Yeah,
I was trying to get everything in the same report, but I couldn't. Just wasn't showing.
I gotcha. Let me see. I gotta increase the volume here. All right, cool. So let's log into Decisions. Let's see. So are you reporting over the task, or are you reporting over the case entity?
Both.
Both.
Like I want a list of the task and then who's assigned to it.
Okay, so you're looking for let's see. So you have this view right here, correct? You create the entity and you have your task and it's inside here, correct?
Right. And as soon as I add the entity to this folder, this view is just, yeah, it looks like it just says views not set up, or it like breaks it.
Okay, so let me I can make that scenario happen. Let's see. I'm gonna move. Where's my entity? I don't have it. Let me create an entity. That's why. I want to create an entity. I'll call it my task as well. I'll say custom task all assigned. What is it? State. We don't want state because it's already there in the entity. Due date is completed. Right, and I'll just leave that as that. And then due date. Date time. Perfect. That's right. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now that I have this one, now I'm just going to do something very simple. So let's say this is Williams Co. Or actually, I'm just use this test one. So test COO1 I will use. So let's say I create some tasks in there. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go through a list. Let's create a flow. And I'm going to say this is task entity creation. I'm just going to create one of those things. And I have to go back because I need to get, no, it's not what I wanted. There we go. Then I'm going to go to project. We go to user defined types, entities. I got my custom task. When I create this, I'm going to say that I'm going to make it a constant. And what I'm going to do is, well, can I pick it? And oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to move it then. Move entity. So I'll create it and then I'll just move it somewhere else. And so I'll take this. We got our folder. I'm just going to pick one folder. Sure, store data. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want my entity ID, which is going to be this thing that comes out of here. And then the folder ID is going to be constant. And I'm just going to grab that from here where I can go to store data, grab this. My folder ID is up here. I can do this and I can paste that there. And then let me just build this custom task. And I'll say, hey, the name is going to be task one. And then I will say all assigned. I'll say admin@decisions.com. Due date, constant date, we'll say that it's due the 3rd, is completed, we'll leave that as false. And then do I got this moved? Yeah, it's gonna move. So I debug this, it creates it, boom, boom, it's in. All right, cool. Now, let's go back here. Now if I go and refresh this view, and I believe we go to a folder view. Okay, good, I got my task in there. And there we go, I got task right here for that. So this is not so this is what should happen. This is not the view you see where you have your task right here. It shows it in
No,
this.
mine just shows an empty screen and it says views not set up.
Are you on? So you're using your case, correct?
Yeah, I'm using case, and then so immediately after it creates the case. Go back to.
So like like on yours on the top right, do you have like the different views, like the runtime case, and then also like the case view? Like, do you have these 3 tabs up here?
Oh, let me check.
Because I wonder if it's actually doing a different one, or if it's
Yes, I have all 3.
And when you click on case view, can you see it?
So yeah, I can see all that.
Okay, so this all appears here.
Yeah, I guess let me try to try to do it again. Trying to go back to my test workflow. Just messing around with the other thing.
Yeah. Because the only thing that I could think of that causes that is in case entities, if you go to like if I go to my employment case, you can create pages, like default pages for it. And so I could say, hey, I want to create this page and I'll say this is page 1. And let's say I forgot to like create the page and I just leave it in the configuration folder. Now, when I go back to all of my records, like I go to this one, it should show like page. Okay, it doesn't show. It should like show that page. Oh, I know what it is. I think I need to set that. Let me go back here, page, and I'll say this is, let me add some, sure, I'll add this to it. And then let's add some labels. And then I say label, and we'll say this is, hello, I am the new page. Right, and then I think in my case entity, I will have to then edit the structure. And then I have to say define default page, and I think I call that page 1. And I think if that's the case, then if I go to back here, so it didn't take my page. I'm in this tab. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the correct configuration folder. That's the custom task entity, but if I go to my configuration folder, which is here, right? No, this configuration folder. All right, let's see. I want to edit this. Let me folder view. Oh, I know why. I know why. So it is. Okay. It is set there. There's the page data. I know why. Let me create another case entity record. That's what it is. And I forgot it doesn't retroactively create, apply those changes to that. So I have to then go back to my other flow. Where's my other flow? Create case stuff. We're gonna unplug this, and we're gonna add this here. And let's say I set this to, let's say that I'm just gonna set this to financial project. Well, actually, that would make. Actually, we'll just say that this is Jared at Mail Again Co. Or put it in store data, and then actually, what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to create two tasks since I can do this. Create entities, or I'm just going to create one task because I only need to show this one time. Then I can do flow data, grab the folder ID from the case, build the data here. I'll say this is the name of it's going to be task one. And all assigned, we'll say or admin due date, constant due date, and we'll set this up to be the third, and it is completed, going to be is completed, false. So that should store that. So if I debug this, that should create those. Boom. So now I got it. Now the page should be applied to that new record. So if I go back to store data, I see this one, and then I go to, yeah, there you go. Now I have page one, and then it will show that. So why this is relevant is because what you can do, Wade, is you can say, hey, I actually want to see all the tasks inside of that case and their statuses, or you can apply a filter on that report and it will just report for everything that's inside that case. And it's just going to say, okay, cool, here's all the ones that aren't completed. And then you can delegate that for that. But that's how that works with the page stuff.
Okay. Maybe you have to go back because yeah, I was going back and testing it. Yeah, I still get the
Really, it just
yeah,
shows, okay.
no view. I set it up the way you just did.
Mm-hmm.
I created my case entity. The
Okay.
folder that the case entity just created, that's what I set to my entity when it created. And then then it goes to no view configure.
Then goes to no view configure.
Yeah.
And you're in version what? You said 9.15, right? 9.14?
Yeah, 950.
Did you
Unless
create
I'm
a
setting it up wrong.
maybe not setting up wrong. In your custom case, your employment case, you have your page, right?
Where do I go?
In your configuration folder.
Okay.
Now, okay. Here's another thing. If you create a new case record, does it still say no view set?
If I create it without the additional assignment to it, it's fine. But once I attach that assignment, put it in the folder.
Attach that asset, put in.
Like once I because it creates the case entity, and then
Mm-hmm.
directly after it creates the entity,
Yeah.
and then I say, hey, on the entity, take the folder ID for that is the one you just created. It's the case entity.
Mm-hmm.
So connect those two and then create it. That's what it does. And then I have no view. So I'm on the screen that you're on right now. Oh,
Oh, this one,
the
this
configuration.
view.
Yeah.
Is there a page? If you go to list view, is there a page at all in yours?
No.
Okay. Trying to think. Is this a hmm. If you and so it's and you said it's every new one. So it's you've tested this like 1 to 5, like multiple times, and it still just shows blank
Yeah.
for all of them.
It's uh I created ones without and it works fine. Created ones with and it always shows blank.
That's very odd. I would have
And
to,
then
yeah. Let's do this. And you can't share your screen. I have time later this afternoon. We can troubleshoot it together.
Okay.
I'd have to see what's happening because what that sounds like to me is maybe what we'd have to do is we'd have to like um yeah, like maybe like if if I wonder, here's a test that I want to do. If I set this employment case and I edit it, and let's say my default page, I set default page, but I set it to like new page, something that doesn't exist. I wonder what happens. And so then let me create a new record, create case stuff, and I'm just gonna set this up as
Because the folder the at the very bottom where it says folder ID, no, at the
mhm,
other one at the
mhm.
very bottom. That I mean that's so the folder ID there. That's what I'm gonna put in the custom task, right?
This folder ID here.
Yeah, that goes in the create custom task.
Yep,
That
into the
goes.
folder ID for here.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, and then I run this, and then now let's go back to store data. Okay, so just defaults to folder view if you give it something that doesn't make sense. Yeah,
Good.
let's take a look at it together because there that seems
Okay.
like I'm not sure if it's a configuration or maybe logging out, logging back in or something weird like that. Because it
Okay.
sounds like yeah, it sounds like there's just some setting that's causing that. Is oh wait, are you using a public folder or are you using or is
Uh,
it just the case folders of
no.
the case entity?
Yeah, yeah, it's not there. It's in like I made it. It has its own folder, its own designer folder, and
Okay.
everything's stored in it.
Yeah, because then by all that stuff, everything should be fine. So yeah, let's do this. I'll send you an invite later today. We can troubleshoot it and you can share your screen and we can see what's going on with it.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that sounds
yeah.
good. Yeah, yeah. Then
Well,
I
what?
started thinking of like, oh, maybe because I did
Mm,
have to do. That was another question I was going to ask. Like, what? So creating a to do,
mhm.
how is that different than? That seems like that is a. It's a much simpler assignment without a form. I didn't know if that was also a viable option or whether I should continue with the custom entity.
I mean, it's definitely something you can definitely try. I haven't, messed around with that. But if we go to where is the to dos? Yeah, I mean, because if you go to dos, let me just add one. Just say, uh, task to do data, and then you can set a priority due date assigned to. Sounds like this is what you're looking for, essentially. And then admin, right? And then you could save this. Now, what this is, if you go into reports, is if I click create report, a to do, it's kind of like an assignment, but it's just its own data source, like to dos, like project to dos. So this one will show you all project or all to dos, as it should. Is it to dos? There's nothing. I just created one. What are you talking about? Let me go to project to dos. I want to see if that one. So if we go to do, project to dos, and then let me go total pending. So project to dos. Yeah, so they're just another data source that it sounds like maybe you could leverage this. We just had to figure out where, like how this, project to dos fills up, but to dos, yeah, right. If you go to to dos and I just pick anything, looks like it doesn't create. So let's do this before we move off this question. I'm going to create another flow, create custom to dos. But I'm gonna say to do.
Yeah, the only way I could figure out how to actually create one within here is I if it's in there, I would be happy. I had to go to save entity and I had to pick it from there to do the regular to do.
A save entity step.
Yeah,
Oh, I see what you did. That's cheeky. I like it.
I guess it's
Save entities.
plural. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny? It's save entities, but it's for singular, and then you
Right.
can make it
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like a little weird. Ugh. It's like one of those things that's like, oh, this is a little weird. Build properties. Let's just use all of them.
Yeah, so that's what I through testing. I just went in here, made the root element my case ID, and then
Oh, so, wait. So you use this is in the build right now?
oh, and it's in a test that I had. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
because it's already all exists already. I didn't have to create anything. So I was like, oh, I'll just see if I can add a to do for this case. So I'll, make the root elements, the case, and then add my assign to and add my due date and stuff, and then it seemed to work.
I see. Okay, let's test this out together. I think this will be fun. Admindecisions.com. I'm pretty sure we'll say this is. Oh, what do I do? Hey, weird. Okay, we'll say pending. And the ID should generate on its own. Entity folder ID. I'm just gonna pick a folder. I want to store this in. I'm gonna store this in. Let's get rid of this. Because that'd be pretty cool. And then you don't have to worry about that. And they just manage the to-dos. And then you report over those to-dos. So let's go here. Let's do, sure. Let's list this and I'll list this folder ID. Move this here, move that there. And then we'll entity folder ID, boom, bang. Okay, cool. So now it'll blow up. It doesn't. I like it. Look at that. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. And now let us see, because now you're storing that in there. Okay, we're cooking. Okay, let me find that report that I created. Let's see, was it report one? No, I created, it's this one, because I did it. And then I said to dos. And come on. Hey, okay, so yeah, you're right. There we go. Okay, so that's strange. So you can only create it by saving entities, and then you could store it with the entity folder. Yeah, I mean, this definitely would. I'm not sure what the actions are to it though. Let's see if I put it there, don't save, and I go in, because I'm sure you don't want just the like, it would be to dos, but then you want to show like what's in the to do, correct?
Yeah, it's really I'm just using to do as who is assigned to this case.
Oh,
And
really?
the
Okay.
and the case really just has its own the case. I'm really only concerned about the case's state, not really the to-dos. I mean, I guess they would fall along. The state of those is fall along with the case state.
I
And I
see.
guess I guess you could have a situation where you'd have different statuses for those to-dos and
Mhm.
an overall status on the case, I suppose. We just
Yeah,
haven't
no,
got there yet.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's exactly how that works. So yeah, if the to-dos work, I don't think there's anything wrong with leveraging that entity type, and then you don't have to create your own. Because the benefit of that is once you port this over from like let's say you upgrade or you pass this into the repo, you don't have to worry about a custom action having or a custom entity having to come over because this is an internal thing in decisions. So it makes it easier for a management perspective.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I was like, man, if I could, because I think that's actually what the simple assignment does is create or that's what it seems like. It creates a to
Hmm.
do instead of the regular assignment. So that's why you don't need all the forms and stuff. But I was like, man, this to do seems like it has everything assignments does, just you don't need a form. Like it has the due
Hmm.
dates and the warnings and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I was like, oh, this seems like
Yeah.
I might work.
No, that's a
And
great find, man. I think that's a great idea. So
okay,
what I
awesome.
would do, try this, and if you're still struggling, if you still have that weird like UI thing, just email me and then we can get on later today. But I do think that's a better approach than your custom entity.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you
Hmm.
very much. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
of course, man. Thanks for coming back. Alrighty, next question. We have Alexander. Let's see. Can you show me how we can move files inside of a secure network drive in decisions, maybe using SFTP? I won't be able to show that because I don't have any SFTP set up. But what specifically, what's the missing link that maybe we can discuss and I might be able to help out with that?
I'm just testing the capabilities of moving files around inside of a secure network drive with Decision. That's all.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll show you as much as I can inside
I
of
mean, we don't have
the,
to use SFTP. We could use just, I don't know if there's like built-in network drive stuff. I think there was. I looked before and I saw some, but I've never seen them used.
file stuff moving. Yeah, there is. I just don't have any network drives configured on my thing. So like,
Oh, so you
I
have to
mean,
configure them beforehand?
well, yeah. So how all of these network move files work is
Um,
anytime you move across the network, right? The service account and decisions, which in this case I think would be my AD credentials. Your server won't be running on the same account, but typically how people have it is there is a let me notepad this so we can kind of see what terms I'm using. So most people have like an SA or a service account that runs the decision service or IAS or something of the sort, right? There is a service that says, okay, I'll make sure, right? Or there is an account that says I will make sure decisions is running. And then let's say you want to access a network drive, right? Then what decisions does is it will run that particular step. If I could spell drive, it will run that particular step. So let's say I want to do a network find files. I have to give it the directory, and then I have to build and then give it the credentials. Now, if I don't supply the 80 credentials that has access to that drive, decisions will just return a failed calling, meaning I can't get access to that network drive. And so that's when you'd have to talk to your IT ops team and say, hey, I'm getting this authentication failed. So we need to check the perms on that account, making sure decisions has access to that. Right. And that's pretty much the only difficult thing about that. And then your path would be like, let's say this was my Z drive, and it'll be like Z:// or // depending on if you're Unix or Windows. Right. And then once you fill that out, then you'll just retrieve the document. It'll just list out the list of strings. In this case, the list of strings. Or if you want to copy the file, then it will um, get the full file path destination, and then you could set the directed to file path destination. But that's the basic thing. The basic troubleshooting steps are just make sure that service account or whatever credentials you're using in decisions has the correct perms to move, copy and stuff like that. That's the big kicker with that one.
Sure.
So
Don't forget station.
Gotcha. I appreciate it. Thank you.
gotcha.
Mm.
My pleasure. I'm trying to think of what else could be. Another thing too is and this goes into more of like computer networking. So you would have to talk to your ops team, but you would also have to make sure that the decision server, right? So you're my decision server. Let's use Visio. Visio is more fun than just Notepad. Visio. So also a lot of what happens too is, let's say I have you have lots of networks in your company org, which I'm sure you know, right? And so I have this your company org right here. Oftentimes what people will do is they'll segment the networks, right? And I'll have a network, and let's say this one is let's see, do a text box, and we'll say this one's a 10 dot, x dot x dot x dot x, right? That's one network. And maybe you have another network within your organization that's separate, and then that one is not in that network, but then it's in like a 192.168.x.x, right? All that stuff. Why does this matter? Sometimes you have to know where the location of your servers are. So if I use server right here, and let's say this is my decision server, right? And I'll put this here. And I'll say this is decisions server, right? So the decision server, it may have access to some other servers, like maybe, within this environment, there's another, there's an ERP system or something, like there's other things decisions can talk to, right? So both of these servers can easily talk to each other. Another thing that can happen is, let's say that you talk with your IT ops team and they say, hey, we've confirmed you have the correct permissions to that drive. So that's not a permissions issue. What that would mean is, let's say you have your network attached storage, commonly what it's called, right? Where you have some type of drive that's on another server. Almost say this is the NAS, network attached storage. The problem then wouldn't be the permissions. The problem would be is that these networks aren't connected. So decisions won't be able to find that network, that server, the network attached storage over here, because it's not a part of its own network. And so then there has to be some type of routing. You'll have some type of like, let's see, what's the cylinder? Cylinder. Come on, it was right there. Right, then there'll be some type of, kind of a cylinder thing right here that's like some type of router or some type of firewall, or, basically it's some type of route, like network layer route, that will then be able to help and say, hey, if decision says, hey, I'm looking for the network attached storage because I want to fetch those, the elements from here, it will say, hey, cool. Right. And so if decisions wants that, it'll say, oh, hey, it's in this other network, right? And then the router will then send that request back to the network attached storage, and then handle the cross network communication of some sort. So the error codes that you would get with this would be the following. If it's a permissions issue, you would get some issue like, hey, user credentials was not able to access resource, or like it would say like access denied, which that is a good sign, because that just means that, hey, the user credentials you have is a valid user credential, and it got to the other server, but the server said, hey, you have no rights to that, right? So that would mean that it's a permission issue. So this would be, let's put this up here. So this would be a permission issue. And that's when you would talk to IT ops. That would be like the action item there. The other thing is, let's say it is the latter issue that I talked about, where I said, hey, it can't find it. Then you would get a different error, and it would be like error, you know, like resource not found, or target server did not respond. And that could mean two things. One, it's not, this is a network access issue. And so that could mean not on the same network. It could mean that the let's see, that it's not on the network, or it could be that the server took too long to respond, right? Like a timeout issue. So those are the things that you commonly see if it's one of those when you're dealing with the network steps and decisions. They're kind of the hardest, because the errors you commonly get from the flows that utilize those steps is not a decisions problem, it's a network problem, but decisions reports it in itself, so it gives the illusion that it's a decisions problem, when in reality it's like, oh no, it's one of these network things that's adjacent to it. So did that make sense or clarify anything?
Nope, that makes sense. And luckily I sit right next to the senior network engineer. So
Okay,
hopefully they can get
cool.
me through a lot of this if I run into any of these.
Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome, man. Glad it helped.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Alrighty. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Welcome, Kritika. Let's see, you got any other questions so far? Hey, cool, we got one. Hi, I'm using version 8, and I'm using data repeater, which has 3 fields: number used for indexing, drop down, date picker. How can I make the number field auto increment? All right, I'll give you permission to talk, Kritika. So you want it to auto increment. Yeah, could you dive into that more for me?
Yeah, so I'm using there are three fields over here, and I am using one. The first column is for I like it's for indexing, so it should auto increment at each every list, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it should go on. So I want to use it as like it should be auto populated and it should be auto incremented every time. So I'm trying it, the setup data, initial value 1, increment by 1, but it's not working for me.
Yeah, because are you trying to use like the add, like the add, like the add new row for it?
Uh, on each and every, yes, on add data, I would
Mm-hmm.
there's, can I share my screen, or it's not possible over here?
It's not possible because we post this to YouTube and we don't want to like share your
Mhm,
company data on the interweb.
mhm. Okay.
So the whole goal, you're trying to index.
Yeah, so there are three columns over here.
Mm-hmm.
One is for the serial number. What do you say? For indexing, for
Yeah.
yeah, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I want to go for it. And then second one is the drop down, and third one is the calendar. So every time user selects something in the drop down and select some calendar control, the indexing should be like one. It should go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm trying to do that change in the data repeater, but somehow there is an option when I'm selecting that number box. There's a setup data section in the property where I can actually say initial value and increment as well, but it seems not to be working for me.
Yeah, well that control I think you're talking about is just the number spinner where it goes up and down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that won't auto increment.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. What's the overarching use case? Like why what's the business use case why you're trying to take this approach?
So because every time a user has to, like, if a user has 4 or 5 data, then every time he has to come, okay, point one, this is the data. Now two, user can be wrong, like he can enter 1, 2, and 4, or maybe 1, 2, and 5, 6. So ideally it should
Right.
be like auto incremented by itself, and that should not be editable. The only user is clicking on add row, and that particular row is getting highlighted, and user can go ahead and select their field dependent on that. So that field should be disabled, and plus that I have done it, but that should also be auto incremented so that user cannot do any change and cannot be wrong on it while filling or submitting the form.
While filling or submitting the form. So so you need the index so they know what row they're clicking on?
That's correct. So, like if they're on row one, it's by default coming up as one. That's correct. That's working fine. And they entered one drop down, let's say
Yeah.
Java, and then date, today's date. Now they want to. It depends on them if they want to add another row or not. If they want to add another row, they should not have a flexibility of adding it like uh, three in there, because it's actually second. It's actually two.
Uh-huh.
So it should be auto incremented, not like it could be done manually.
Right. I'm gonna build that for you because here's why I'm confused. I think the data repeater already does that. So I'm not sure why we're trying to recreate the wheel. And I think I'm not understanding your requirements. So if I create a form, all right, here's the base form. I'll call this base form. All the features I'm showing in version 9 will be available in version 8. So there won't be anything I'm using that you
Okay.
won't be able to do. All right, I got a button here. I'm gonna create a data repeater. I guess I have to create a. Do you have a custom data structure that you're using?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just use a flow structure. What data structure are you using?
Uh, like we are using SQL.
Well, like, is it a decisions data structure? Is it an entity? Is it a case
No,
entity? Is it a
we are
folder
using a.
extension?
It's actually we are using a stored procedure in decisions. But we
You're using a
okay, now that
stored
I got it.
proceed.
Now that I got it, what you're asking. Okay, we are using a decisions data structure, but some of the fields which we are picking it up from the business
Right,
data structures. So yeah, we are using a
but
flow
which
flow structure.
just a flow structure, the one I got
Yeah,
here? Okay, got it. I see. So I'll say this is my
like
example FS, and I'm gonna use the same fields you have. You have number, which is the index, and then I have drop down. Or let's see, what's the drop down? I'm gonna say this is person. We'll say this is a
I
email.
think, sorry, it's flow extension, right?
Flow
There's
execution
a
extension is what you're using for
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it. It won't matter for my example because I'm trying to
Mhm.
show. Let's see, and then I'll say this is hire date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making up my own
Mm-hmm.
context here. All right, so number, I'm gonna say this is, I guess you use an integer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Cool, so now I got this. And so now, all I need to do is let me create this form. We're gonna go to data repeater control, and I'm gonna say this is my test data repeater. And then what we shall do is I shall have, sure, I'm gonna say this is a number box. Number box, and we'll say that this has to do with, oh, I didn't pick my type, that's right. User defined type, flow data structure, example. And that's number, then we're gonna do text box, and we'll say, no, I don't want the label, I don't need a label. And text box, that's just gonna be email, and then the hire date, I'm just gonna say date picker. Or actually, no, you said drop down list. Actually, I don't think it really matters. I'm gonna do text box because I know all you need is because we're just
Yeah.
talking about the number box. So
Yeah.
all right, so then I don't need anything else. I just need this, and then let me make this just an integer since that's what it's gonna be. All right, cool. So what I'm confused about is I know that if I do data repeater and I add this here, slide this on over, slide this down, pick test data repeater. I know I can say that I can in the where's the view for this? We'll say this is datas. Show separator, behavior. Let me save this. Then what I can do, show separator, auto add new row, short, and then selection type. You're gonna have a visual indicator. I can say this
Mm-hmm.
indicator is 24, right? And
Mm.
then let's say I need to add and I need a remove button.
I don't have a selection type. Where do you?
And then if I do, let's say I'll make this green because I like green. And then let me add this data repeater add data. So now if I go ahead and do this, wait, I don't want to leave just yet. Line indicator color, 24 width, Identify behavior. And then if I add this to a flow, right? Test stuff. And I show form. And then we do this, pick existing base form. That button goes there. Then if I just debug this, then if I add data, right, I have that indicator, but hold on. There is line number. That's what I want, line number.
But I'm not getting a selection type for me.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I can see. It's probably there somewhere. But if I do this, there we go. See, now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Yeah.
for that, and so that automatically comes with it. Would you know what version of 8 you're running?
Mm, I have to check that.
But if you can confirm, is that all you're really looking for? Is that people just know what row they've selected and they're on? Like
Yeah.
just to be an
Yeah.
indicator, that's
Yeah.
it. So I know,
Yeah.
oh, I'm here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I can do, right, this is stuff or whatever. Okay. So then what you'd have to do is, are you in right now? I can kind of walk you through it. Are you in the data repeater?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're not, so you have to close out of the data repeater and go
Okay.
into the base form that's applied, that the data repeater is applied on.
Okay.
And let me know when you're in there.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so now find your data repeater on your form and just left click that data repeater. And then that data repeater control will have a selection type because now it's the properties of it on the base form.
Okay. Now I got it. Yes,
Yep.
and it has a line number.
Yep, and
Lovely.
you do that, and that should solve that. And you can also brand this, like if you want, you can also have a highlight indicator. So like I want people to know, like if they've selected that line, it will be, I don't know, a little bit yellow for some reason. So now when I
Mm-hmm.
close this, I can debug this. And then now if I add, it will show you, hey, see, I have a different color. So if I haven't selected it, it will be yellow. And if it is selected, it's blue, right? And you can create your own type of, color scheme for that. And this way you
Yeah.
don't have to like, figure out how to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. It solved my problem. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
perfect. Awesome. I was just curious. I thought I misunderstood something because I imagined there was some architectural requirement you needed or something.
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well,
Uh,
thank you so much.
can
Mhm.
if everybody has no, like, if you don't have any more question, I have one more.
Yeah, fire
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. So there's one requirement that there's a drop down which has 4 options,
Okay.
and there's another field which has another grid which has 3 checkboxes, and they have this logic like checkbox 1, 2, and 3. If checkbox 1 is enabled, then checkbox 2 and 3 will be disabled. If 2 is enabled, then 1 is disabled but 3 is disabled. So this logic, I have already an active flow for this and I have created it,
Cool.
but there's a new requirement which is
Okay.
like a field which is which there is a drop down one, let's say a drop down one.
Hmm.
If someone is selected one of the field, then these check boxes becomes a mandate field. But if other than that
Hmm.
option, like out of 4 option, other than that, if anything else is selected, these check boxes are not to be like a required field. They should
Hmm.
not be required field.
Hmm.
You understood my question?
I believe so. Basically, you're saying I have like 3 different checklists or something.
Yeah.
Any when I click on one of them, instead of it hiding or showing or selecting whatever it is on the right, it also needs to have some type of requirement criteria which says, okay, now these things must be filled out
Yeah.
instead of it being optional.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
can we do that in
So
version 8?
you could. I'm trying to think. I'm working through the logic in my head. I think you'd have to create another active form flow. And that active
Okay.
form flow would be like check requirement. Like you would call it like check requirement. And in the active form flow, I could show this because you'd have this also in your version 8. I think what you'd have to do is you'd create another active form flow and it'd be
Mm-hmm.
like check requirement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then what you would do is in this flow, let's say, you know, imagine I'm gonna use a placeholder step, but imagine it does like, this is the rule evaluated, or let's say, right, rule evaluator. It doesn't do anything. I'm just using this as like
Mm-hmm.
as an example. And then if there's a true or false path or whatever it decides, then on
Mm-hmm.
the outcome of that would be, um, let's see, set validation on these controls. And then you could utilize the constant or build array probably for it. And then you can just set this up and say, okay, this is now a fatal and this must be filled out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so then, and I'll just apply it so then you pick the form control that it applies on. In this case, all I have is a data repeater. And so what you would do is to make sure that person fills this out
Mm-hmm.
is you would have to say, hey, have this run for outcomes. So if it is a fatal, then it won't. Then the person can't leave that form until they complete that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you'd have another check that if another active form flow runs, you'd have to check the content of that, of the main selection box. And then if that, criteria is not the same anymore, then it removes this validation. So you would have an active form flow that would have the set validation, and then there would be another type of rule logic on the bottom here that would say, okay, I also need to clear the validation, and you would clear a particular validation.
Which activity you're using for rule evaluator?
That's just a placeholder because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know your logic. It would be
Okay.
whatever your logic is that you already have that can
Mm-hmm.
check the check boxes. So I'm using a placeholder. It doesn't do anything.
Okay, so I already have a logic for making it enabled or disabled on the checkboxes. That is there. But I need a logic where, dependent on other drop down, like
Right.
there's another drop down, whatever
Mhm,
field is being selected there,
mhm.
the checkboxes will be set as required or not required on the basis of what selection has been made to the other field.
Right. This would do
Yeah.
that. It's called
Okay.
valid. I'm using this. It's the terms of Migas. I'm just utilizing the validation capability of forms to set that
Mm-hmm.
requirement thing. And so what will happen is you'll have a pop up around those controls saying, "Hey, these are required," and someone can't click off it until
Mm-hmm.
they do those. And then let's say they click another checkbox selection, then it would remove that the necessity of whatever the action they have to do now is, because the criteria is different.
Okay. 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 I'll try this.
Awesome.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions? All right. Well, I think that's a really good questions, and appreciate everyone for joining. I think we're going to end there so that we can get the recording mixed and then uploaded to the um, on the web so you can watch it on your own free time. So thank you so much for joining. I think tomorrow we'll have Jeremy. If not, it'll be me or Gregory, one of the two. You'll have a person for tomorrow. So that'll be a fun thing to join. And yeah, if you have any other questions, join tomorrow and we'll be more than happy to answer them and help you out. So thank you so much for attending, and I'll see you guys next time.